Alrighty, welcome to another episode of Shooting the Shit. Another monthly installment of the variety kind. I'm your host, Earnestly Christian, alongside, of course, the great Rosalyn Ross. Ross, what's up?
Hey there, how are you?
I'm good. And GW Gras here, of course. You know, Big Daddy having a kid in the way. What's up?
Right. I'm actually going to get my first round of physical therapy today on my knees, so that's going to be fun.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, you got a knee problem you didn't tell us about? I need to send you some get well flowers. What's going on?
Yeah, I like both knees. I got torn meniscus on both knees, and I have arthritis in both knees, so, yeah.
What?
So that, I got all the gel shots.
3 letters.
I got all the gel shots and whatnot, and...
D.
So now I got to go and get my physical therapy on twice a week for 8 weeks, I think.
Okay. We're going to start...
Wait a minute, did this all happen at one time, or did you just decide to get this all taken care of? Like you got?
No, my knees have been messed up and questionable for I want to say 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And because every softball season, I'm like, I'm gonna get them checked. I never get them checked because softball's more important, you know.
Well, it can't be. I mean, you got a kid in the way, man. Those knees got to work somehow, man. Because
whatever. I mean, I'll just smack them on the ground so we can't move.
Dude, like
it's just that simple, huh?
2 or 3.
Yeah, it's really easy to take care of a kid because you're stronger than them. So all you gotta do is hit them.
You know what's funny?
What I'm saying to you is, sorry.
I can't believe. No, Ross, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, 3 podcasts ago, you said you were gonna beat up Kevin Durant. I don't know, between his superior reach and your bad knees, I don't know if you can do it now. You need the power of the legs to throw a punch.
You know what, Ron? We'll see what happens because there's a good chance he'll come to New York. You know, so there's a good chance that we'll see the main event.
If those rumors are true, man, you have a chance to square up with him, man. That's for damn sure.
That's right.
Now,
I ain't running.
Before we get started, we started this show a little while ago because I guess Rosalyn has a bone to pick with me. She's accused me of not posting our last episode that we did of Shooting the Shit on the podcast feed, which is a complete lie because I've never taken out episodes before of this show ever.
It just seems kind of funny to me that it just seemed kind of funny. You know, it's kind of fun. You know, when a woman starts her statement off with I just kind of funny, you know we're about to go in. I just find it kind of funny that you on the podcast were Rosalyn's doing a bunch of talking today. She's doing all the talking. And then I at least looked for 2 weeks and never saw that episode. I was so
I posted that episode literally an hour after we finished it.
Much.
I remember that too because I remember that was the hard stop episode. And I went to pick up my kid from school, and I immediately came back home and I posted within the hour because I wanted to hear it, the playback.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, I owe you an apology, even though you're just hearing about this today. I've been sort of boiling in the waters of this disappointment now.
You never told me this at all in the last month?
Right.
You know what?
I didn't even tell you.
Are you really surprised, EJ? Because isn't that what a woman does? She'll never tell you what's wrong. She'll just let it boil inside and boil inside.
My wife is pretty direct and to the point. I'm used to that side of things. I'm used to direct and honest.
Well, then you find it no surprise then that I could just boil in these waters of sadness and disappointment.
Well, let me ask you this quick. Did you take the comment of me saying that you were talking a lot on the show as a negative? As actually a positive.
Well, thank you. It's very kind of you to say. I thought you meant it favorably until we hung up, and then I never saw the episode. Then I was like, oh, he meant that in a bad way.
No, in fact, I mean, we don't give out awards and participation trophies to this podcast, obviously. But if I were to say who the MVP was of the episode, it would be you, obviously, by far, because you pretty much had the best perspective on everything from the MJ stuff to the Colin Kaepernick situation that G went fucking, off on, as you saw. You had the best perspective of all. In fact, I listened to that episode 2 days ago.
All right. Well, I'm going to go and find it, and I'm going to offer you a public apology henceforth, right at this moment, to say I'm sorry. I wasn't really mad, but I was a little sad. But I'm sorry for even thinking that you meant to harm me in any way.
Oh my God!
I can barely get the last word out without laughing.
The fact
that,
that
I really did think you didn't. I'm
a little more worried that I made you mad in the first place. Like, I'm like, whoa, really? I made you mad? Ooh.
Well, you didn't make me mad. I just had a small, moment. And then I was like, okay, well, if he invites me back on, then I'll know we're still good. So we're good. We're here today on April 11th after much toggle back and forth over text messages, many cursings out by G, and lots of gifts from you. But we're here.
By the way, check out Rosalyn's Instagram stories. It's great. That's great. All right, so let's go.
Because you sent out the question and I didn't even answer. And G's on there like, yeah, sure, asshole. And then I was like, I didn't even answer because I'm an asshole. We're all terrible.
Well, I was shocked because first off, when I sent the text out last night, normally G responds first because we already know your history with text. You're just not good at responding to text. You've been on the show many times over. So the fact that you got back to me first before he did. In fact, he didn't get back to me until I said G. And then the next morning,
when you guys were texting, I was sound asleep.
I know that. I figured that.
Yeah,
I forgot you're a 6 p.m. Sleeper now. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, so old. Oh my God, Grandpa G. G's a grandfather.
Wait till the baby gets here.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Anyway, let's start here first because obviously we had a big tragedy a few weeks ago. Nipsey Hussle was murdered up in California. It's fun because I was never a diehard fan. I just recently got into this guy's music like maybe late last year, and I remember telling G, I think way back like back in December, like, hey, this is pretty solid stuff. I was like, yeah, whatever. It has some really solid material in comparison to everything I've heard in the last 5 or 6 years, but nothing more. But then I'm hearing everything that happened, him getting shot, and then hearing the stories in the aftermath, like this dude had an impact that I didn't even have awareness of in his community and whatnot. And then talking to our own talking to our own D. Darren Wilson, who lives actually near the area, like this dude was real. Like I didn't think it'd be a bigger deal than he got shot and that's it. And then I'm hearing the aftermath, like, whoa, this guy was somebody. Like, beyond just a guy who rapped for a living and made and did all that. I guess, Roz, quickly, your thoughts. I know you post some stuff on your social media after the tragedy. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I really had to borrow from someone else. She pretty much summed up like the general sentiment of what I needed to express because I have not listened to a lot of his music, and now it feels kind of tragic for me it's too tragic for me to go back and do it now. I'll need like months before I can do it. But so I posted something that Shayna Renee, who is a great sports writer as well, and who's written some stuff from ESPNW, what she wrote, which was just talking about how he was a great, representation for Black love, Black community, and what it means to inspire Black folks to invest in themselves. But I had that sort of same thing that you had, EJ, right. Which is I didn't listen to a lot of his music. I knew he was dating Lauren London because that's the thing you have to know now when you're on social media. Like, you have to be, you're aware of this stuff now because it's always, pushed out in the Black love hashtags and all of that. And I knew they took some really dope photos in GQ and that he was a big deal. I just didn't know exactly why. And so now I feel kind of terrible that I didn't know that beforehand. But, I hope that, and so people are expressing a lot of, I guess his funeral is on TV, like, right now live.
Yeah, it is.
But, people are expressing a lot of sadness over the loss. I just hope that it inspires action. Because no matter what level of tragedy we experience as Black people, the thing now to do is to post about it on social media and to, reflect on what the person meant to you. And that's great. It's cool. And it's a great way to honor someone you've lost. But at the same time, at this point, we need a lot of action in our community. And so in several different arenas, whether it's police brutality, whether it's freaking nutrition, whatever it is, like, where there's gang violence. Like, we need a lot of action, and what I want to see more of and hope to be a part of is the action that is inspired by these tragic losses as well.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for in the coming weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. G, anything want to add to that?
It was funny because Nipsey was never someone I listened to the music of. It's kind of like his music is very West Coast centric, and if it doesn't catch a buzz over here, I really don't hear it. So and it wasn't up to him, but that's what it is. Like there's a lot of East Coast artists don't get any play over there, So it is kind of what it is in that respect. So I don't really listen to him. I knew of him though, and I used to watch his interviews though. Because he was on every radio station getting interviewed, or any of the bloggers or the video blogs. I used to watch his interviews because he was very smart, He was honest in every opinion he had when it came to coming out of urban communities, and he was honest about how to handle your business. And I just started listening to his music after he died, really, because that was what people were doing, and it's actually really good. Like, his beat selection, you could tell from his early projects to his latest, got so much better. His flow was so aggressive, but musically he was fine, but forget about the music, it was the impact on the community and what he was planning to do, even more so business-wise and investing into the community and stretching it out from California to other places as well. But I will say this though, like Roz says, you probably take time to listen. All I gotta say is this dude is very smart. He owns 100% of his masters. So whatever you stream, whatever you buy, is going right to his family. So just keep that in mind.
That's amazing. That's actually really amazing.
Well, G, like when we lost him, you were like one of the people that I immediately thought of that I probably need to reach out to so I could get some understanding of what he has done musically. Because I hadn't listened to any of the stuff. So I wanted, because you're our hip hop expert, so I needed some perspective on that. But now I see you. I get the whole East Coast, West Coast thing, which sounds weird to say. But in this context, it works because I understand exactly what you mean. So I get it that you hadn't really listened to a lot of his stuff now. But now I got to get on it today because I got to help his family. So that's
What do you guys make of some of the conspiracy? Because obviously, when these things happen, there's always a conspiracy theory behind it and all that. This is supposedly he's working on this documentary on Dr. Sebi, who was supposedly a doctor from the 80s that apparently had the cure for I believe was it cancer or HIV? I can't remember which one, either or both.
Well, it was HIV.
HIV,
yeah.
Thank you, and other things and whatnot, and. Supposedly, there's like the conspiracy is that the government's involved in this, and he was about to expose some things in that documentary and whatnot, and this this obviously happens. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm anti-conspiracy theory, but again, these things do have kind of a life of its own once in a while. But I mean, who knows?
Well, and my whole thing is like, let the man give me a minute before you start dumping that stuff on me. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
Ultimately, not you. I'm saying, almost, the general public within probably 45 minutes was like, yeah, he was getting ready to. It's like, hold on, y'all. Like, can we at first take, regardless of why it happened, a life was lost. You know what I mean? So let's just take a moment to be respectful of the fact that a life was lost. Then give me a couple months and we can talk about how it might be part of some conspiracy. But again, that ties back to my thoughts on action. So and then all these conspiracies are always followed by stay woke. Okay, I'm gonna stay woke, and then what am I gonna do when I'm awake? Because that's the thing. You can't tell me this stuff just for the thrill of claiming that you're smarter than me.
Right.
There also needs to be a reason why knowing it is of value. And one of those reasons better be that you're going to take what you know, tell us, and then we're all going to get together and we're going to do something so that this doesn't continue to happen to our people for whatever number of conspiratorial reasons that it could happen. But don't just get telling me stuff just because you want to show me that you smart. Don't do that. Tell me you knew this and then this is what we should do to save people henceforth. Anyway.
Right.
But I was like, yo, it's too soon. Let this man, it's a whole family that's sad, and a whole community, a whole freaking city. Let these people absorb the sadness of this loss in whatever way they can before you start using this event to prove that, you know, your tinfoil hat is prettier than mine.
Right. G?
Yeah, I've heard the conspiracy theory thing, but really it just boils down to, like, just a crazy person from his neighborhood that, you know, he didn't get along with that used to be his friend. And, well, I mean, it was an argument and then it turned that way, but I just think it was, even though the guy is clinically crazy, like he really legit is, I just think jealousy plays a large part into it, which usually is the reason why a lot of these young rappers in particular die, you know, it's a lot of jealousy.
Right. All right, let's move on to the next topic. I mean, obviously there's no better way to move on to it, but you have to. Your boy, Jussie Smollett got off, apparently. By the way, nice joke on the text, by the way.
About you want to talk about Jussie Smollett getting off?
Yeah.
It's gross.
So gross. Come on. Well, apparently, I mean, and, you know, going back to conspiracy theories again, there's some of that in this case, too. As you know, Jussie Smollett was actor from Empire who was arrested for allegedly faking an attack on himself. And he was charged with 16 counts of that, and then all of a sudden, about a few weeks later, they dropped all the charges and whatnot, and that's it. That's kind of weird to me. I mean, we can say what you want, what side you're on the argument, man, but this whole thing just feels weird. Like you supposed to fake an attack, and then just like that, the prosecutor says, "We're dropping the charges." That's it. I mean, that makes no sense to me, Roz.
No, it makes no sense, and it's hilarious to me how maybe again it's because of social media or whatever, but I feel overly exposed to how divisive the most mundane topics can be. Whether you put like sugar or butter, whatever it is, or salt on your rice, I don't know, but this seems like one of those ones that was also kind of mundane. And you know, I mean, certainly Jussie said that he had some mental illness that was undiagnosed and maybe had a drug problem. That was part of what his defense was going to be, and so I am not making light of that. But ultimately, what he did was kind of a weird thing. But even this was like, people were like, nah, I mean, the Chicago PD, like, seriously, like, this dude probably paid some people to make a whole thing up for maybe a very superficial reason, or maybe because of his mental illness. But ultimately, the fact that people are still like, yeah, see, he showed y'all he got off. Like, I don't know that I don't think that he still did that. Like, I'm not sure that him getting off is supposed to be representative of the fact that he didn't do it. Because I feel kind of convinced that this was all orchestrated by him. I just feel like the case was going to fall apart, and the charges, and the DA had to drop the charges before before Smollett's attorney ran roughshod over him, because that's what's going to happen. And they've really sort of done that in the aftermath, because Emmanuel Rahm came out and was, you know, I forgot, like maybe he was going to sue the city he was going to sue Smollett for something, and their response was to call the city out in a way that they were asking for documentation and papers, which would have exposed the city's culpability and irreverence in like at least a couple of other shootings of young black kids in the community. So that alone, like the way they requested the information, was going to expose some major holes in what Chicago PD should be doing. And that response alone told me that these people were going to eat the Chicago DA alive at this thing going to court. So that's why it didn't go to court. I don't think it didn't go because he didn't do it, because I think he did it.
Shit's corrupt. Shit's corrupt, though. I mean, altogether. Even with right intentions, it's still corrupt as shit.
Oh, no question. Yes, definitely. I mean, it's weird as hell. Like, this whole thing has been weird as hell. And I'm glad and so our arguments about it online were starting to get really ridiculous. So at the very least, I'm kind of glad it's gone away, so I don't have to see people defend this very strongly on either side when it's weird as hell. It's very weird.
G, your boy, Jussie.
I'm saying that's my boy, man.
Jussie J Smollett.
Also, let me just say, like, I'm having a hard time saying the words "getting off" because the text, like, really just when we talked about this over text and we used that, it just really kind of threw me into a headspace. So now
that was the point of the text, though. That's G's.
I don't know.
G's brain works. Come on, that's what they had in mind. Like, come on.
I can't stand
damn
y'all.
fucking innuendos, bro. Come on. All right, Jussie Smollett, G Stelio, go ahead.
I don't know when it came down on my Twitter feed that like he was being acquitted or the case getting thrown out, whatever you want to call it. Like I didn't really care, you know. I was just like whatever, like who cares, like you know. And then like what got me was the timeline where you had like the you know everybody with their political agendas coming down and they're like, oh, this is the corruption of the Democrats and you know then Republicans and then like I don't want to say an argument because I'm actually cool with this guy on Twitter, but he's a Republican, whatever. You know me, I always said I don't care either way, you know. And he's like, gee, you just know that this is bullshit because this was a white guy who pulled this off, you know, like that the black community would have been going crazy, blah blah blah. And I'm like, listen. And I was like, for every gay black Jussie Smollett out there, there's definitely a straight white racist out there. So I don't really care either way, you know, because on Twitter, all you see is both sides. Pretty much was it race baiting? You know, you see the black people do it, you see the white people do it. So after a while, and this is the sad part, I don't care either way.
Yeah,
because you people have numbed me to the point of racism. I just don't want to hear it, and I know it exists, and I shouldn't be like that. But I just don't want to hear it. Like I don't care because all you're trying to do is drive your narrative. You see a news story and you just want to flip it around to your narrative, and that's weak. You know, it's just pathetic. So I was because I thought when this case was thrown out, that was it. We weren't going to hear it no more. But then people found more stuff to talk about. You know, and please don't tell me, all he did was waste the Chicago PD's time, because the Chicago PD has been wasting a bunch of people's time in the city of Chicago for saying, we're going to find out who murdered this guy and never do it. So don't even give me that about the Chicago PD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, that being said, because there's I mean, I was doing some research on this as well. Like, is there, like, do you think his career is still over? Because, I mean, if they're dropping, like, on the surface, obviously, they dropped the charges. You know, there's nothing to go on here. So, technically, he's not prosecuting anything, nothing like that. So, is his career kind of like in a place where it can resume? Like, because I've heard, like, with Empire, that there's a divide, actually a three-way divide between people who want him back, people who don't want him back, and people who are kind of in the middle.
Well, listen, I mean, this is not sports, right? So, and this, you know, not that I am nearly, I mean, this dude was making $65,000 an episode and was a series regular on a show that is a somewhere above average sport hit level. And, you know, so this is, I'm not comparing myself to him, but I know a little bit about the industry. And what I'm saying is in the way that he's not going to go out and perform and get a touchdown. You know, a lot of what your value is when you're in entertainment is your public relations value as well. And so, which can be balanced in sports when you're going to score a lot of points.
Can it be rehabbed? No, it's a question. Can it be rehabbed?
But I don't know if it could be. I mean, because it's kind of bad. Like, now people are going to start to consider whether he's actually a crazy person for doing a weird thing. And it might bring the wrong kind of attention in the way that, you know, a non-sports franchise can't overcome. I don't know. He might get to stay on this show, but I don't know what it means after this show ends, which is just as significant because he'll probably have a longer career left than the amount of time he has left to be on the show. Let's be clear about that.
Right.
So for the next gig, I don't know how this works out for him.
Because my thing is this, though, Roz. My thing is this, because, like, you see these stories. It's here now and it's gone tomorrow. Like Smollett hasn't been in the media fire in the last 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks. No one's talking about him in the last couple weeks. So let's say he lays low for 2 years. It comes back. Yeah, well, they'll bring up what happened 2 years before that. But does the news cycle now between politics, sports, and entertainment is so quick and so fast that I feel and he let's face it, there are people who do support him. There are people who do believe that he is innocent in all this stuff. So do you use that as a way to maybe bring him into some smaller projects now and hopefully build from there? I mean, I can still see that happening, to be honest with you.
I'm rooting for him. Listen, I'm rooting for him. I mean, certainly if he has some undiagnosed issues, I'm just saying, like, the news cycle is more about us, like about the way we communicate.
Absolutely.
Things and the way we attach, and by we, I mean the consumer, the audience, the way we attach to things. But I'm talking more about, like, the conversations that are had behind closed doors. This is a black actor. We already don't get a lot of opportunity as it is. And so now you're talking about he's on a show with a predominantly black cast. He moves off of that and has to start going out into the pool where a bunch of black actors are fighting for, like, a couple of black roles on a show. Like, now this may be the thing that sends the person in the other direction towards the other actor.
Right.
I'm not saying it's over. I'm not rooting for that at all. I'm just saying this is not like, oh, he still can jump real high, so and he's still going to put some butts in the seat.
Yeah, because negative publicity can still mean money. You can still make money off negative publicity. And look, let's say a TV show next year puts him on a show for a couple episodes. He will get that show might get eyeballs, and that's all they care about in the end is eyeballs.
Yeah, that is a reasonable, logical response, EJ. I don't know if that's all they care about because it's not reality TV. Like, again, this is like a job. Like, reality TV is like go crazy, right? But your actual on a scripted show, it matters just as much about like how crazy you are and how easy you are to work with. And whether or not you might pull a thing, like and I want to make this point, like,
go ahead.
I feel like people are supportive of him getting off. I don't know. So in that way, I think people support him, but I don't know if anyone really thinks he didn't do it. And I guess that is the whole point I was making from the beginning. Like, people are cheering that he did not get prosecuted, but I don't know if that's the same as saying we think he didn't do it. G, do you think he did it?
Yeah, 100% he did.
Yeah, I do too.
Right.
100%.
So to me, I think to me it's different that he didn't get prosecuted. That's cool, and people are cheering that. That's cool. I don't know though if people are really saying in that support that they actually don't think he did it. And so now it's going to come down to executives thinking whether or not he really did it. If something like that could happen again, it could really derail your show.
Or in a very vain way. Rosalyn, sorry to cut you off, in a very vain way,
no, go ahead.
Is this guy still marketable? Because even if it's a negative, if we can still make money off this guy, that's all. Because these executives, at the end of the day, all these executives care about is money. if Jussie Smollett gets you money, they're going to go ahead and try anyway.
I agree 100% about that. That's all this entire place we live in cares about is money. It just depends on how you're going to make it. And I don't know if money will be made off of him in this space. Now, I'm not saying he'll never be on TV again, but that might give him a couple of years off to think about what he's done.
Yeah.
Or it might take some big news conference, or it might take a stint in rehab. Like, all of this stuff is done. It's all, even the lives of these folks are scripted. Like, there's a track that you have to get on in order to rehabilitate your opportunities. And so, even that has a script, and if he follows that script, then yeah, absolutely, I think he'll get another opportunity pretty quickly. But it just depends on many factors. I'm just saying, it's just not as easy as like we all talk about sports and how quickly these folks turn back around because their impact is more immediate in the games that they play. This is not exactly the same type of immediate impact. It's more of a long-term. You see somebody, that's bringing value to your whatever, your project.
Exactly.
So it might take a little while. It's not as easy a decision as saying, I'm going to let somebody who just drugged their girlfriend down the steps get back out here and score me another touchdown so my team wins and gets to the Super Bowl. Very different.
one thing he has in his favor, which is weird to say, is that he's claiming this whole like he's mental thing. And
exactly.
Yeah, and nowadays you got to be really sensitive. I mean,
Yep.
people should have been sensitive about that for years, but they're just starting to be sensitive about it now. So that's the only thing. I still think he's full of shit. Like I think he's crazy because he set this whole thing up. Like that's the kind of crazy.
It's weird as hell.
I don't think he's schizophrenic. I just think he's crazy because he's stupid. You know, but the fact that he's going to lean on that is going to give him some leeway. I mean, I really don't care. One way or another, if his career is that, I don't care. Like, you know, I'll be okay with it.
I'll tell you what, look, I'm with you. I'm 100% with G, one. But I'll say this much. If he's in December, shows up on a TV show, or a few episodes on a show I actually do like, or any show for that matter, will I watch? Absolutely. I'm all for Trainwreck. Come on, let's go.
See, but then there's also a large contingency of people who will not watch that show, who have been watching it just because he's on it. So it all depends. It all depends how it goes, you know.
It will get buzzed. It'll get buzzed.
Either way.
Like you know this. Remember when Seinfeld, I forgot the actor's name, but Kramer, he did a stand up and he started saying N word, and he was being extradited. You know, and he was a beloved TV character. Like everybody loved Kramer. And then after that, it's like a couple of people tried throwing him a bone and nothing stuck. You know?
No, that was the end. You didn't see Michael Richardson.
Yeah, Seinfeld tried. Everybody tried. He was on a show with, what was it? I think that Gina Davis show or whatever. I forgot what it was. But he was on a couple of shows. He had a couple of spots, and whenever he was on it, that show didn't do nothing. So it could go either way.
Yeah. Well, rules apply for some, not for all. And this next person has kind of survived her admissions on video. Cardi B last month was actually caught on video. I don't know how old the video was exactly, but she was on a video saying that she used to drug and rob men during her stripper days. Now, and on one hand, I'm torn because on one hand, I actually admire the it's a video that leaked, but still her being honest with this kind of stuff. But on the other hand, a lot of folks are pissed off because the double standard involved here. If this was like some other guy, a guy, for example, saying this on video, he might be arrested or something like that. For that matter, Cardi B is, at least for the last month, has survived this pushback. I don't know. Big deal, no deal. What do you think, Ross?
It's probably, to your point, it's gone away for sure.
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard anything. It was for 2 days. I saw the memes and then I saw the conversations and it was over. I mean, to me, it's kind of a big deal that she admitted that. It's disappointing. But what I find more disappointing is, and again, so let me also just lay this disclaimer out. I did not do a deep dive into this. When it first got announced, I didn't read anything about it. I just went with the headlines. So one in particular that I saw seemed to indicate that she wasn't she was kind of flippant in her response as to why. I did what I needed to do. And that I struggle with because that is most definitely a double standard that would not be acceptable in any way, shape, form, or fashion if a man not only admitted that, but then also very flippantly sort of brushed off the request for him to be more remorseful about it.
Right.
I'm just doing what I had to do. That to me I find to be a bit disrespectful. But I don't, I guess she has survived it. She survived a lot because she's had, she got to fighting at one point at some show. And it may just be that it's part of the image that people already have in their mind about who she is. And so this sort of stuff just kind of feeds it. And so therefore she gets away with it. But, I don't know. It's very interesting, but I didn't like what appeared to be a very flippant response from her as to why people should be okay with it. You should be okay with it because I did what I had to do because I was out here broke and that kind of that's not the right thing to have said. And at this point, you should have a different perspective on it because you're growner and older and have seen this done to women and women don't like it, just so men certainly shouldn't have to like it. And you've got money now, you should be a little bit more remorseful. Those are my thoughts on.
Now the video that came of her admitting this though, was this an old video before she blew up, or was this a video that was done recently?
See, I don't know. That's the part.
That's the question.
And it might have been when she was peaking at the Love and Hip Hop thing. It wasn't like when she was like the megastar. I can tell you that much.
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of warmed up to Cardi B in recent months, sort of. I don't know.
I mean, I'm pretty biased.
Like, you listen to her music, or like, what does that mean that you're warmed up to her?
The music is pretty good. It's not bad. I mean, I'm pretty judgmental about music because I have high standards, but I mean, not bad. I go in the car. I'm not mad about it. I'll take it over Nicki Minaj.
Huh? That's interesting.
I will.
You won't?
Yeah, I was gonna say I need.
You know what's funny, and this becomes an argument of the talent versus the product. Mm-hmm. I think Nicki Minaj is more talented, but I like the product.
I agree.
I like the product better that Cardi brings out.
Nicki Minaj is actually better.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think Cardi's character is better. I think her music is just better. You know, she doesn't have to be the most lyrical, because that's not what hip hop is anymore.
Right.
And she 100% a lot more talented. But that doesn't matter at the end of the day, because who was more talented, Christina Aguilera or Britney Spears? Christina, but nobody cared. Britney had the hits.
What I was going to say is that Nicki Minaj, I'm not a fan of her solo work, but as a cameo, she's dope. Like, her getting like little spots here on Usher's song, on this song, dope as hell. As a solo artist,
but when was the last time she stole it? I think the last time she stole it was on that A$AP Rocky song. Other than that, Cardi has been killing the features right now.
Well, there you go.
Like Cardi said, and that's nothing. Like Nicki probably writes, I would say 60% of her stuff, and Cardi probably writes 5% of her stuff. You know, but even then, that doesn't matter today. You know, The bottom line is like Cardi puts out a better product. You know, at the end of the day.
Again, I'm not saying I'm a fan of Cardi B's, but the material that they put together, forget features, it's about as albums, whatnot. I tend to lean more Cardi B's way than Nicki Minaj. That's all.
Oh yeah, that's all. And when it comes to this story, I'll say real quick, the stripper culture is one of those things where I'm not shocked to hear this. You know, pretty much if you're a guy and you go in a strip club, you gotta know that these girls out there in the strip club are trying to scam on you. Because as soon as you go in there, like, you're pretty much a mark. Like they see the guys who are buying bottles at the strip club, the guys who are throwing 5s and 10s instead of singles, the guys who are just throwing up a stack of money. The strippers see all this shit. You know, I mean, I've had friends who were strippers in life, and they told me how they scam on these guys. You know. And it's a real simple thing. And drugging a guy, that doesn't surprise me. And that's the other thing. It's also a cultural thing, probably, because when she said I did what I did to get by, that reminds me of the way a drug dealer talks. You know, when a drug dealer says, yeah, you know, my dad passed away, my mom had to feed me and 4 other kids in the projects, and she had a part-time job, so I did what I had to do. I dropped out of school and I stole drugs. It's the same. It's really, that's why it didn't faze me. Because I hear that from drug dealers too. And my whole thing with drug dealers when I hear that is like, you know the risk, so go ahead. See, I never understood why drug dealers get such a bad rap, because all they're doing is messing up other crackheads' lives, so who cares about crackheads? You know? But it's a matter of like, but culturally or whatever, like, that's why it didn't bother me when she said that, because coming from the stripper world, that's regular content. And on top of that, no guy is going to come out and say, yeah, she drugged me and took my money, because you're going to look like a fool. So she's good.
Well, wait. First of all, 2 things. I did read someone's account of his experience being drugged by Cardi B that was floating around on Facebook. And I was like, this dude is really comfortable in himself to be sharing this story, because it felt like a thing that no guy would ever share. So you're right about that. But there was one floating around. But also, were either of you two strip club people before you got married? Like, was that a thing y'all cared to do?
Done a few times. I mean, being in a band many years. Yeah, I obviously we did a couple times, but I was never really somebody that found it impressive. Like, to me, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I wasn't something I had to do every fucking week or whatever. You know what I mean? If you had a band meeting and we happened to say, well, let's have a meeting at a strip club. Okay, cool, let's do that. But beyond that, I mean, it was never something I like strive to go at every week or every 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a weirdo. Like, I've never been into strip clubs or even like groupies, so to speak. I'm not into any.
I'm the same way too. Really, honestly,
because I went to strip clubs when I was younger, and I realized, I could finally go to a strip club. And then I went, and I was like, I just spent a lot of money and didn't get laid. Like, this is stupid. This is
that's what I'm getting at. Why am I paying $25 for a lap dance when I can have the real thing with somebody else? Like really, like.
Or you can get cockteased at the bar, you know.
Yeah. So I have been, because I am also a weirdo, but the thing, so outside of the experience of like when a baller shows up in the strip club, right? Like when it's just normal dudes in there, it seems really sad. like it seems like a sad little place.
Sad for who? The customer or the actual or the
No, honestly, the entire experience. Like I have been, like there were these promoters that used to host like a baller night, like a NBA baller night or whatever in a strip club here. So that was kind of like a club night, but it was in a strip club. And so I went for one of my friend's husband's birthday one time, and it was like, and that was like an all real live experience. Like there, there's money everywhere, there's bottles everywhere, people are actually dancing. Like it wasn't all about the experience of a strip club. It was more like a promotional night.
Yeah.
But then I went to one down in Florida because my 3 best friends from college are all guys. And so one of their friends was getting married and I was hanging out with them. So we went, and there was no baller-ness to that experience. It was just regular dudes in a strip club, and the entire thing felt odd to watch the women approach the dude. Like they seemed sad, and then the dudes that were paying seemed sad, because to you guys' point, like, what are you paying for, and why are you paying for this? Like, what am I watching? Like the whole thing just felt kind of like a sad
scenario.
Some dude was in there with his work uniform on, so he had either come from work or was on his way after. And it just seemed, I don't know which one it was, but it just seemed really sad. And I was like,
you're paying for Roz, you know what it is though? You're paying for the fantasy. That's all.
Oh, that feels sad to me.
Well, I agree, but I mean,
whatever.
Everybody's world's different. Like.
No, listen, that's not offered in judgment. That's why I asked you guys, like, what is supposed to be like what's the thrill of it? Because I've seen it, I've been in the atmosphere 2 different times, and I've definitely seen it when it was thrilling, but that had very little to do with stripping. That had to do really with a bunch of NBA players standing around. And,
for me,
the
shock value for me fell really pretty quickly. Like after, when I turned 18, I'm going to strip clubs, and I go to strip club 18 years old, like, okay.
Exactly. You get over it quick.
You go real quick. Like, okay, it's naked girl, boobs. Okay. Seen it before. Seen it all the time.
It's even worse than going out bar hopping one night and not hooking up with a girl.
Yeah.
Because you seen a bunch of naked girls and you weren't going to hook up with any of them. It's just a weird thing to come home after, too.
I agree, man. It's just, I'm with you. And to me, on a basic level, I'm starting to sound so simple, because Gina, I agree here. Like, again, lap dance, I don't know what it is now. I've been to strip club in freaking over a decade, but a lap dance way back when was $25. Again. Why? What am I paying for? For someone to rub up on me with my clothes on? For what? For 5 minutes? Like, no. No, I'm sorry. That's lunch money. I'm sorry. I can pay a bill with that money.
It just makes no sense to spend money on a girl rubbing on you, because, like, if you apply yourself and you go out to a bar, some other girl will do that to you for free, and you did it on your own. So I don't know.
I will say this much though about strip clubs. I did when I used to, because if you want a lap dance, you can pick the woman you want to entertain you. So I will always go for the most exotic one, the one like I know I can never get on a date with me. You know, the most exotic woman of the bunch, the most out there. Just so you know, because it's I'll never be able to date a girl like that ever in my life. So I mean, just whatever. But beyond that, I don't see. This is my perspective. G agrees. Even you agree.
I always went with the white.
You want the white girl?
Yeah, I always went with the white girl. You know what's funny though? In my life, I've hooked up with 2 strippers, and they were both black though. So.
Oh my
wow.
God. I keep on every month now. I have to lose some part of my self-esteem to G's obsession with non-black people. And then now finally I get a black story, and it's because they were strippers.
You know, G just wants to be accepted. That's all. G just wants to be accepted.
And one of them, I didn't even know she was a stripper until she just told me. So.
Anyway, let's get to some sports here real quick. Because obviously playoffs starting this week in the NBA. But before we get there, we had 2 big retirements this week. Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki both announced retirement. Now, Dwayne Wade we knew, way back before the year even started. This was Last Dance, all that. Obviously, we live in South Florida. That impacts here where I live. But Dirk Nowitzki, even though that teams were treating him to a send off week after week, game after game, he never officially retired until this past week. So, I guess I'll ask you guys. G, you go first. What are your thoughts on Dwayne Wade's career, Dirk Nowitzki's career, and what are their legacies to you?
Well, the Dwayne Wade guy I never heard of in my life, so I'll just talk about Dirk. I never heard of Dwayne Wade. I have no idea who he is.
You're an idiot. Next question.
But, I have no idea who he is. All I know is he had a useless triple-double against the Nets in the final game of the year where his team lost by like 30. So, that's all I know about this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all I know about Dwayne Wade.
By the way, he got that triple-double to Udonis Haslem, for the record. Good job.
It was. I saw it today. I was like, wow, that was actually kind of poetic that it was Haslem, the jumper. But when it comes to Dirk, Dirk, in my eyes, is one of those guys that really he moved this game forward like we know how it is today. Being the big man who could shoot from all over the court. It's given birth to guys like Porzingis. It's given birth to a lot of big guys like that who just got range now. Like, you don't have to sit there and just tip in the ball or grab a rebound. Like, no, you could stretch the whole defense being 7 feet tall, And the other thing about him is that he did it on Dallas, a team that before this, who do we know Dallas for? The Jimmy Jason Kidd era, and before that with Derek Harper, we knew nothing about the Dallas Mavs. Dallas Mavs were growing up; they were probably the worst team every year. The Dallas Mavs,
Mm-hmm.
So seeing him bring a championship to Dallas, and for a while keeping them in the playoffs every year, keeping himself in MVP conversations. At least he was at least top 5, finishing at least 6 years in his career. There's a lot to be said about Dirk too, because he was one of those guys that you never really heard about. You never heard anything about it. Like Dwayne Wade, on the other hand, he loved the spotlight. He was Hollywood. He got Gabrielle Union. He was in commercials. Dirk was pretty quiet, and he's known throughout the league and the entertainment world as just being a generally really nice guy.
Yeah. Dirk is great. Roz, your perspective on both guys?
Yeah, well, my comments are gonna be a love fest on Dirk as well. First thing though, it's so funny to me how this whole Dwayne Wade's retirement, and it's partially Paul Pierce's fault, but how this
we're getting
now
there.
turned into Dwayne Wade's retirement has turned into a commentary on how not good Paul Pierce was. And so this one of my Fistfight brothers, shout out to Russell Ackland, who I will be using many of his points to make my points later on this call, has been serving people up as far as how bad of a boy Paul Pierce was. We're not going to use this moment to take all the value out of Paul Pierce's career. But D-Wade, I loved him when he was at Marquette. And was really rooting for him when he got to the NBA. And so everything that he has done has made me really happy for him. And I was happy and I'm really happy in an odd way that he was able to get his first championship without LeBron on the team, because that one gets to live outside of LeBron hype. And
Absolutely.
That's really cool for me that he was able to do that. Dirk, however, I love Dirk. Like, I don't think I always loved his game, but the year that the year that they won the championship,
probably again, please. First. Thank you.
What happened?
I'm a Heat fan, Rosalyn. Don't do this to me right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, listen, this is the only thing I'm going to say about it. I'm not even going to talk a lot about what
I know. I'm just joking.
That is probably one of the, like, most impressive performances in a freaking finals ever that he did. But anyway, sorry. But, dude, like, that was the year that I fell in love with the post-game press conference. And Dirk would sit at the podium and give, like, these big, serious, like, in-depth, like, amazing answers to these questions. Like, it still floors me to this day when I think about how intentional he was about, like, answering questions and sharing information. This from a person who had just basically learned to speak English, like, a few years earlier. Like, it was just really amazing to watch. And that's a weird thing to, like, draw a conclusion about somebody's inner life from. But watching that, I was like, this dude is probably really cool and really a good guy, like, really intentional. Because he would just sit, like, win or lose, he would sit there, sit back in his seat, hold the mic, and would just go for like 30 minutes at a time and give these very informative answers to these reporters who were asking, a lot of them asking really dumb questions, especially in the light of what they had just seen. But so dope. And so since then, I've been like an even bigger fan of Dirk. So in fact, it almost brought me out of retirement, and it still might. Out of my semi-retirement, writing retirement, because I wanted to write about.
We miss your writing, Roz.
Yeah, listen, I write all the time. I just don't get a chance to publish a lot of it, but I still do write all the time. But this one almost brought me out of publishing retirement, because I'm like, this is a huge loss to the game, because he meant a lot to the game, and he's kind of a dope person.
I'm so glad you said that too, because first off, you were talking about the post game conferences. I love watching him too, because he used to hold the mic, like just hold it in his hand.
Yeah.
Just talk like matter of factly. He'll just hold the mic and talk like he's talking to you, like in a conversation. Like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, and he would settle in. Like, that holding the mic, I think, was like, I'm settling in, so let's do this. Like, it was really a conversation. And again, to think of someone doing that who really, like, English was not his first language. Like, to have, evolved to a point where he's having this conversation with this level of comfort with these folks at this moment.
Absolutely.
Which is a really dope thing. Like, changed me. Changed the way I saw him, honestly.
And I feel bad because, and by the way, I spoke about Dwayne Wade and his retirement and my thoughts on Wade on a separate episode, the last episode for this one. You can check it out, of course. I did, so that'll be Wade's thing. But I'm going to talk about Dirk here. I wish I could appreciate Dirk Nowitzki more. And I think the part of the reason why I couldn't appreciate him as much as during his peak years is because that was the middle of that rivalry between Miami and Dallas when we beat them in 2006 and then they beat us in 2011 and all that. And not that I hated Dirk, but there was a resentment towards Dallas because there was sort of like a little like a rivalry between Mavericks fans and Heat fans because Mavericks fans claim that the title was stolen because of the referees, which you can argue some calls they go Miami's way after Game 3. I won't lie about that. There was something to that. And then the Mavs getting back in the biggest of ways by not only beating Miami, but also beat Miami in Game 6 in Miami and beating the Big Three on top of that, with the LeBron stuff on top of that. So there was a little bit of a rivalry between Dallas and between Mavs and Heat fans that people don't really realize. But that said, I think that was the series too, though, that while me being a Heat fan, I suffered through that series, obviously. That was also where I really started to appreciate Dirk Nowitzki as a player and as a person. Like, this guy's dope, man. This guy's really cool. I'm glad he stayed in one team for his career. He could have gone to another team and tried to get another ring, and whatever. But I wish that during his peak years in 2000 when he was battling San Antonio and battling the Lakers and battling all those teams in the West, Phoenix, all that, just to get to the top. I wish I could appreciate it a little more back then. I really do. So I feel lost now as a result because of that.
Aww.
Yeah, but to me, Dirk is top 25 all time. Certainly top 3, 4, 5 forward all time. Probably the second best form player of all time behind Olajuwon, maybe. So, yeah. He'll be a Hall of Fame in a couple of years, and like D Wade. So, yeah, I love Dirk, dude. I love Dirk.
Are we counting Olajuwon as a form player?
Yes. We are.
Huh.
I do. I've always done. But real quick, though, we got to go in about 8 minutes. Hard stop. Better career.
Is that when the baby's going to wake up? Like the baby's your baby is going to wake up in 8 minutes.
I got to leave the house to pick up my kid from school. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Better career. Because this debate stimulated from a ESPN thing with Paul Pierce and the panel. Better career. Dwayne Wade or Paul Pierce? G, go.
I hate Paul Pierce. I've been very vocal about my hatred for Paul Pierce. I think he's a bitch ass. I think he's been overrated, and it took him to get Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen onto the team. And let's be honest, Ray Allen won that championship for them. And how many did they win? One out of that big three? Mm-hmm. Paul Pierce is a bona fide bitch, and he's just purely jealous about Dwayne Wade. Because in Dwayne Wade's height of his career, you could have made an argument him or Kobe were one of the best players in the league. And I've always said that. Because I always said the issue with Dwayne Wade at that time was that he was always hurt.
Yeah.
But I always said if Dwayne Wade was healthy, he's right there with Kobe. That's how I always, and I never viewed, even if I hate somebody, I'll say if they're good. I've never viewed Paul Pierce the top 10 player in the league ever. And I had Dwayne Wade being 1 or 1A at one point in his career. So That's why I put it.
Roz, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree that Dwayne Wade had a better career, but Paul Pierce is not trash.
No, I agree.
He's far from trash. Like, he's very, 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 very far from trash. Like, he definitely had a storied run and spent a lot of years wallowing away in also, much like Dirk, a very trash team type of environment. And he still maintained his alpha dog status when Garnett and Allen showed up. He still was sort of seen as the leader of that bunch, even though Garnett was like the aggressive muscle of the bunch. But Paul Pierce was the alpha dog of that bunch. But G is correct. I think Dwayne Wade had a better career. And I agree, G, because this was definitely something I was going to write about at one point, was that Dwayne Wade, like one of the reasons he never made, I don't think he made, it was either first team all defense or first team he never made first team as a guard because of Kobe all those years. So you're right in that definitely stunted, Kobe's presence stunted a lot of what would have been the accolades for Dwayne Wade. But you're right, better career than Paul Pierce. But Paul Pierce is far, 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 far from trash.
And the other thing that Paul Pierce did was always act like he was hurt a little bit more than he really was.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that is a huge pet peeve of mine if you're an athlete.
I can share G's frustration with Paul Pierce to some degree.
Oh, stop.
I can share. No. He ain't. No. Wait. He ain't trash though. He's trash. Like my hate. No, Roz, you'll actually appreciate this. My hate of Paul Pierce is a respectful hate. Like same way I hate Kevin Garnett. It's the Celtics. I hate the Celtics. So, granted, I'm gonna hate no matter what. And Paul Pierce is not a really likable guy. Paul Pierce ain't trash though. No way. He ain't trash. Now he's a bit he's a bit off his rocker thinking about career in Dwayne Wade because there was never any point in his career we ever thought Paul Pierce as a top 5 player in the league or top 10 for that matter. So let's stop all that noise real quick, okay? Dwayne Wade, at least for a 3-4 year period between 2006 and 2010, 2011, first year of Big Three, Dwayne Wade was a big top 3 player in the league behind Kobe and maybe behind Kobe, maybe behind LeBron, maybe behind Dirk, or maybe behind Duncan at one point. But that's about it. So
I don't disagree. Yeah.
But I'm not gonna trash on Paul Pierce, because he ain't trash. I like G, but I can see where G's coming from too. Because Paul Pierce is very unlikable. He was unlikable as a player. He's unlikable as an analyst on ESPN, and he's a Celtic. I hate the Celtics. I can't help it. So. But before we go, and by the way, I love the fact that the Nets fans were chanting "Paul Pierce sucks" yesterday against the Heat, and for a team that had Paul Pierce for a year, by the way, too, for the record.
But that's why, though, we didn't like him when he was on the team.
Thank you, love it. But G, your Nets are in the playoffs, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, man, it's been a long, hard road. Finally back. When you and me were talking before Roz came on, we were saying like the Nets did it. The Nets did it the way you're quote unquote supposed to. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way, but when I say supposed to, is like they didn't go out and buy a big star. Remember they tried that already and it didn't work. They put them in debt for the league for like 5 or 6 years. But they traded for underdeveloped talent to develop them on this team. They got a hell of a head coach in Kenny Atkinson who has a great system in play, and they stuck with him. Which is. Cause I think Atkinson was just really smart taking this job because he must have told them, look, you're giving me a lot of trash. All they're doing is wearing basketball jerseys. You got to give me time. They gave him the time. The system has been working, and we still don't have the best talent in the league, but we're a team that matured D'Angelo Russell, and we got other guys like Karis LeVert, who are on this team excuse me, Karis LeVert, Joe Harris, who have benefited from this system, and they're all real NBA players now. This isn't just a fly-by-night team. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, where Joel Embiid may be missing 2 games in the first round of the playoffs, that's going to benefit the Nets. So I mean, and the one thing you got to do when you play the Nets, you got to be ready to run. The Nets are nonstop. So this isn't like a 7 or 8 seed team that you can just walk through because this is a team that plays hard.
I mean, I'm happy for you, G. I mean,
congrats.
You and Matt McQueenie come on this podcast all the time, and you guys are diehard Nets fans. Matt McQueenie worked for the Nets for a long time, so that's even more for him. But yeah, I'm happy for you guys, man. Any before you go, any predictions? Who wins the title? I mean, I said 2 weeks ago that I have a funny feeling that this year's champion is coming out of the East. I don't know who it is, but it's coming out of the East this year, I think.
Yeah, I think Golden State makes it out the West, and they lose in 6 to the Brooklyn Nets.
Well, that sounds really, really, really like you're rooting for the home team. You think
no, it's D'Angelo Russell. He's on top of him.
Yeah. He gonna shit on Steph Curry real bad. No, I'm just joking.
They're coming with those Coogee jerseys, the dedication to Biggie jerseys. Coming with those, mad swag on the court. Yeah. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to finally win a championship.
I'm rooting for the Bucks, though. Be honest with the whole thing. So that's for the record.
DJ, we gotta give him some time to come off of this high because he's still high and saying crazy.
Hey
stuff
man, he's running pretty good though. These last couple months, the Bears are back in the playoffs for the first time in years.
Man.
The Nets. I mean, dude, not bad.
The Super Bowl.
If your White Sox get shit together, maybe that could happen too. White Sox, I don't know.
No, I don't think the White. I think the White Sox probably 2 years away. White Sox still like 2 years away.
Running pretty good right now. I mean,
dude, high off of their first time.
Let me say that like Penn State is competitive. They're back to winning 10 games a year after that tragedy over there. Even Louisville basketball surprised people this year.
Even though you hate James Franklin, but okay.
Yeah, I hate James Franklin with a passion. Great recruiter, terrible coach.
Anyway, before you go, Roz, anything you want to promote before you go? Anything? Shout outs? Anything?
I got in the film. Yeah, so I mean,
all right.
I booked film. It's about Loretta Lynn. I just filmed my scenes on Monday, and it should be out later this year on Lifetime. It's about Loretta Lynn and Pat Klein. And I'm not going to tell you who I am, but given that this thing was set in the 1950s, we will take great pride in asserting that I am not anyone's maid. So,
nice.
Very good.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm a black woman in a film about the 1950s run of Loretta Lynn and Patsy Cline's friendship. Like, I'm really thankful that is not the case. And I'm thankful to be a part of this cast, which was really dope. So, there's
cool.
that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Congratulations.
Right.
Thank you.
I got nothing going on. But wish me luck that I get through physical therapy without crying because I've never done this in my life. So we'll see what happens.
And go Nets, right? Go Nets. First round. Let's go.
Yeah, and go Nets.
Yeah.
Other than that, I really got nothing going on. I'll be in South Carolina this weekend. That's all, I guess.
You what?
I'm going to be in South Carolina this weekend.
For
That's about it. Oh, my wife's family's house. I don't even know. I don't know. She just booked the flight. I'm like, whatever. I have no idea what I do in here. I just sleep in this house, and then she pulls me in one direction, and I have to go.
Well, she's the boss. She has your child,
You're like a sitcom. You're a sitcom, dude. This entire thing is a sitcom. I cannot wait until this baby gets here.
I can't wait.
Me too.
I can't see the gender and see what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. Even from the sonogram picture, the baby looks kind of dope though. Like, oh, look at it. He or she actually looks like a person almost.
Folks, G. Stelio is going to be a father. Like, put that in your brain real quick. He's going to be a dad. Unbelievable.
So
anyway.
Dope. Yeah.
I can't believe it. Anyway, Rosalyn, G, was fun.
All right, guys. See you in a month, I guess.
Maybe we'll see. All right, guys, gotta run.
All right.
All right, bye.
All right, later.